Hi Gypsies, this is Joy. I'm going to do a reading today about your past lives, and I'm going to unveil what you've learned in past lives that's holding you back. Now, here's a for instance. You may have learned in a past life because you were poor and there was an employer that was unfair to your parent, to your dad or whatever. You may have learned that all people that are in a position of authority are mean and cruel, and that's an example of something you learned that's holding you back. So you've got 3 stones to choose from. This is a dark amethyst. It almost looks like black, but it's not. This is a white, holy kind of bead. And this one here is a rustic kind of green. I like this color. It's like a green-brown, has a little bit of tan in it. Okay, so anyway, this is also helpful because a lot of times you don't even realize the prejudices, I guess is what you'd want to call it, that you have. So for instance, yeah, you might be prejudiced against all people in authority because you feel like they're all going to be mean, and you might be held back in your life because you've got a chip on your shoulder against bosses. Okay, so that could definitely hold you back. All right, so let's get started, and I'll see ya on the other side, Gypsies. Hi Gypsies, this is Joy. This is group 1. You chose the dark amethyst stone. Even has a little bit of like lines in it, white lines. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to look at the lessons that you learned, and then we're going to branch out into why you learned those lessons, like what specific kind of circumstances occurred in this past life so that you learn those lessons, so maybe you understand a little bit better. So let's get started. And I'm choosing these from all over the deck, so these should be, plus I shuffled it like you wouldn't believe. Okay. Oh wow, isn't that interesting? Authority. We were just talking about that at the beginning. You have a problem with people in charge. You and as a result, in this life, you've got a problem holding down a job. You have a problem speaking with somebody in authority. You come across as angry and judgmental. Okay. All right. So that's the first one. Great. Okay. So now I'm going to talk about where you learned that in a past life. Okay. Where you learned that lesson in a past life. So let's learn. Okay. The High Priestess. Nine of Cups. Okay, I'm seeing a story in my line, in my third eye with this Page of Pentacles. Wow. Judgment. That's great. That's just great. Okay, so it looks like in this past life you had a father that was a drinker, and that was really hard for you to see. He was a nice man when he was sober, but he just totally got out of hand when he was drinking. He wasn't, it's not like he physically abused you when he was drunk, but it was abuse in that you were ignored and the alcohol was chosen over you. So whether you knew that or recognized that or not, that was abuse. This feels like your mother. This is your father, the drinker, and then this is your mother. She had a lot of skills. I'm hearing 1853, I don't know, at least for some of you. She had a lot of skills that she was not able to use at this time. She feels like a woman who just sort of was quiet, not content, but she was just sort of quiet, watching how things happened, trying to keep you and your brothers, that's what I'm hearing, you and your brothers out of your dad's way, especially when he was drinking. And one of the big things I'm hearing in this lifetime is because your father was drunk and didn't show up to work, which maybe you didn't put two and two together. You just, all you saw was that he got fired. That's all you saw. So later when you're a young man and you're going into your own job, learning how to make money, you judge these authority figures. And you actually don't even know you're doing it. Now, what I would suggest is you just pay attention to your behavior. I mean, don't beat yourself up if you realize that you are exhibiting this kind of behavior. But you know what? It's going to make your life a lot easier if you give everybody a chance when you first meet them. Just give them a chance to show you the way they really are, rather than just putting what you believe they automatically are just because they're in a position of authority. All right. We're going to do another one. Okay. Oh, wow. All right. And this might be some of the other of you. I'm seeing heart chakra upside down. And I am definitely hearing broken heart with this. So whether you're male, female in this past life, it looks like, let me figure if this is, somebody broke your heart. You've closed your heart. This lesson that you learned in this past life is that the opposite sex is not to be trusted. I heard women are not to be trusted, so maybe you're a man in this past life. Taking advantage. Okay, so you feel like they really took advantage of you, of your good nature. You had a very sweet personality. You fell hopelessly in love with this person, and they trashed your heart. Okay? So let's pull some cards here and see what's... Okay, the World card upside down. Okay. The Star upside down. This is strong. This is strong because those are two major arcana cards. This is a strong lesson you learned. Wow. Upside down too. Three of Wands. This sounds like this is a really significant lesson that you learned. Look at that. Look at that. Okay. Okay, so this happened when you were younger, where you had this kind of romance. It feels like you never got over it. You were embarrassed, you felt humiliated, it hurt your pride a lot. Your world turned totally upside down. And you know, part of the problem that this lesson came through so strongly is that you didn't talk about this with anybody. Okay? What you were supposed to do in that lifetime never happened. You were so consumed by this one faulty lesson that you steered clear of situations, romantic situations with other women, and you died alone, and you felt sorry for yourself. And what was out there for you in the horizon? What great things were out there? Now you see this, these rods that are in back of you. So before this situation happened with this woman, where you felt like you were so humiliated, your path was nice and strong and straight. You went right through it. And then you stopped. You stopped. This had a horrendous impact on your life. So, your lesson that you're bringing into this life, some of you in group 1, is a distrust of the opposite sex. You think that they're going to make you look stupid, that they're going to take advantage of you. But I'm telling you, a lesson that you can learn is, when you're hurting like this, it is a big help to put your pride aside and to talk to somebody, to talk this out. Because sometimes you don't even realize how unreasonable that you're being until you actually just vomit all this stuff out. And you hear yourself talk, and you listen to the words, and you think, wow, that's sort of messed up that I'm thinking that way. You need to talk. You need to talk. So just find somebody that's going to listen to you. And a lot of times, they don't really even have to say too much. You can just, like I say, you can hear it. You can hear maybe how you're being unfair to somebody, or your thinking is faulty. You can hear that, and you can have an aha moment, and you can think, okay, well, what can I do to stop this kind of thinking? Because it really feels like in this lifetime, in this past life, you had a lot of nice opportunities, and you did not take them. This is a significant thing that happened to you. And I'm feeling a lot of it was pride, and it was pride in the fact that you would not unburden yourself with someone, which is a shame. All right, so that's something to think about, group 1. Some of you in group 1. Let's do it. One more lesson here. Love begins. That's interesting. It's upside down. Love begins. In this case, it feels like a parent kind of thing. Love didn't begin. You grew up in a family, some of you in a past life, where your parents didn't understand how to parent, like a lot of parents didn't at that time. And you felt unloved, uncared for, unnurtured. And it made your heart almost into like a stone. and you didn't even realize it, but you can realize it now. So the lesson that you've learned is, wow, there's probably, yeah, is you don't trust people. You do not trust people. You had to do things on your own at this time because your parents, I'm hearing too, your parents didn't nurture you, or they didn't know how. Maybe they thought they were nurturing you, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough for you. And so now you feel like you just want to do everything by yourself. You don't need anybody. All right, let's pull some cards. Ten of Swords, upside down. King of Pentacles. Ooh, okay, I'm getting that strong. All right, let's pull some more. Strength. Let's pull another one. Yeah. Okay, so I feel like you feel like a very strong person because you're doing everything by yourself. You don't need anybody. And you are totally not looking back at what happened to you as a child. You totally discount, you tell people that they didn't teach you anything. Your parents didn't teach you anything. You had to learn it all by yourself, okay? So you don't even like to think back on what happened to you as a child, except sometimes those memories just come shooting up in there, and then you stuff them. Now there's a difference between living in the past and stuffing, all right? You got rich in this lifetime, and you feel very, very, you feel very strong because you feel like you've done this all by yourself. Nobody's helped you. You're not somebody that wants to give to charity because you feel like you've pulled yourself from up from by the bootstraps, and everybody else can too. You were very, very hurt in this childhood, in this past life. Very, very hurt. I can feel the pain. It's affected your thinking and your heart and your root chakra. I mean, it's just all over your body. So much pain. So much pain. So yes, in this lifetime, what you've learned from this past, what you've brought in, is you don't trust people very easily. And you want to do things by yourself because you are the only one that you can trust. It's really hardened your heart. See this green? Heart chakra green. It's really hardened your heart. And I feel like you're married, but it's on your terms. And I'm actually feeling like, this is spouse right here, whether it's male or female. So in this lifetime, you did get married, but it felt more transactional. It felt like if you were a male, this female that you married, knows you have a lot of money, so you married her more for the way she looks and how she'll look at your table and how she'll throw parties and so on. It's not a loving relationship. Now, you really don't like when these thoughts come in of your childhood because it shows you that you're not strong. you can't stop it. It makes you almost feel like you're going crazy because you just really resent the fact that these thoughts still keep coming into your mind about how you were treated, how you were pathetic because you cried and were hurt, and who needs them anyway? Okay, so I would suggest that a therapist, a good therapist, might really help with this, because frankly, stuffing down memories like that is not going to help. It is not going to help. When you stuff things like that, that's why they just come out like Pandora's box. You can't stuff them. And I've noticed in all aspects of your life, if you do this, if a thought comes through, don't stuff it. You step back and you look at it. Just look at it. Just look at the child you were crying and humiliated. Just look at that. And it will fade. It will fade. And you tell yourself you're not that child anymore. And you are loved. And you are a loving person. And that's dealing with it, as opposed to stuffing it down and trying to pretend it didn't happen. Okay? All right, group 1. That was fun. And I hope you all are having a wonderful new year. By the way, this is still in January 2021. All right. Thanks so much, group 1, and I'll see you later. I would love to hear if you've got any comments about this, if this is accurate or not, if you've got any situations that maybe this really hit on. That'd be great. I would love to hear that. Hit the subscribe button and the bell. Bye. Hi, Gypsies. You are group 2. You chose this bead that's got a lot of decorative holes in it. Sort of cool. And we are doing a reading today of what are the negative lessons that you learned from a past life or past lives. After all, you're a whole group, you're not just one person. So let's go ahead and choose some cards now. All right. Upside down, material harvest. Wow. Okay, you know what I'm feeling like with this one? Wow. You learned that you could never make any money. You feel like a failure, and you feel like no matter what you do, you can't make any money. You can't make ends meet. Wow. Okay. That's sort of sad. Okay, so let's all right, let's find out what's going on with this. All right. 9 of Cups, upside down. Ten of Cups, upside down. Cups dealing with happiness in this case. The Empress. Wow. Okay, so let's look at these last 2 cards here. This feels like in a past life as a young man, you're full of, well, you're full of more hope than you were. I mean, you're a young man, and it looks like you love this lady from afar, but you felt like she would never look at you because you're not going to be able to give her the kind of life you feel like she deserves. And she feels like she's not that wealthy, but she feels like a very sweet, nice lady. And you're not even giving her a chance because you feel like you can, you feel like a failure. Your home life, look at that. Not a very happy home life. It feels like you had some very pessimistic parents, and money was a real problem in the family. It looks like you didn't discuss it openly, so what the children did is just sort of look at how the parents were so stressed out, and it made the whole family unhappy, because it felt like, to the kids especially, and there were several children, but it feels like all the cups were empty. So the lesson you learned was money was just not in your fortune. You was not in your future. Was not something that you were allowed to have or could have or were successful enough. You are very pessimistic about your abilities, especially as you got older, examining, your life, and yeah, that caused you to be resentful. So in this life, what the lesson that you've brought in is this kind of pessimism about yourself, about life, about what you're due, what you're owed, that you're never going to be successful. So you don't try. Wow, okay. Yeah, you're not trying because you gave up. You gave up. So, what I would suggest is that whenever you watch your thinking and watch your words. Watch both, okay? Both. And whenever you start seeing that you're being pessimistic, oh, that can never happen, I'm never going to win, I'm never going to be able to get that job, I'm never going to be able to date that woman, stop it. Don't have that thought. I mean, just don't. And I have heard the fake it until you make it. And I believe that. At first, it will feel like a lie when you start telling yourself, I'm successful, I'm attractive, people like me. It will feel like a lie, but you just keep on. Because what you've developed is a habit of thinking pessimistically. Well, you can develop a habit of thinking the other way, can't you? And frankly, a lot of people, when they see you being pessimistic like this, they don't even want to be around you. You're, what do you call that, a Debbie Downer? You bring everybody down when you talk like that. Okay? All right. And that's for some of you in group 2. So let's go ahead and try another one. Upside down. Positive movement forward. Upside down. Okay, let's pull some 8 of Swords. Devil card, upside down. Four of Wands. And 2 of Cups. All right. In this case, it feels like you don't know how to you're afraid of confrontation. You are afraid of confrontation. You've got all of these thoughts in your mind that are keeping you chained. And this little devil, which everybody's got something like that in their mind, is telling you all these negative things about yourself and your situation, scaring you half to death. And when you can't come to some kind of an agreement, and in this case we're not talking about romance, we're talking in this case about having two sides come together in some kind of simpatico situation, but you're afraid. And this is not something that you even want to make a decision on. You've blinded yourself, and when you do that, you can't move forward. Look how you've tied yourself here, and this chain around your neck. There's no movement. There's no movement. Okay, so it feels like in your in this past life, the reason for this is you grew up in a very authoritarian background, an authoritarian father who would not let you have a voice. So you felt very constricted, especially when he was in your face telling you that you were wrong, you did this wrong, how dare you, and he wouldn't let you have a voice, and voice which you tried to, which you were dying to say. And so this has impeded you in that past life. It's impeded you the whole lifetime. You can't talk to people. You can't be in a business and have a healthy relationship because you can't tell them how you feel. In marriage relationships, this is upside down as well. You're tied up. You are constricted. So you learned in this lifetime that you're not allowed to have a voice. Everybody else can, walk all over you and say what they want, but you can't say what you want. So I've got a feeling in this group that you may feel like you never get what you want. And it's because you're not telling people what you want. And it may be because of how you learn this lesson that you don't even realize who you are and what you want. You're so busy trying to please everyone that you're not thinking about, okay, what will please me, what will make me happy. And it may be that you might even consider that selfish thinking, to think that way. It's not. It's really not. So it feels like your business relationships are hampered in this lifetime. Your emotional relationships at home are hampered. And it does feel like that there's a marriage there, but it feels like it's not. There's not a give and take, because you're not opening up about what you want. And I have a feeling that maybe you don't even realize what you want. You don't know. You don't know yourself. So, and I say this a lot, pay attention. Pay attention to what you're thinking. You might be very surprised at what you really do like, what you do really want, instead of just sort of going along with the group and okay, a beach house or whatever, that's what everybody likes. No, maybe you don't like that. Maybe you do want something in the country. You don't even like the sand. you've got to pay attention to what you want. And that's not saying that that's what you're going to get all the time, but you've got to at least know yourself to be able to make decisions. And I've got a feeling that this group gets hurt a lot because your partner doesn't know what you want, so they're just doing their own thing, and you sort of feel like, well, they should, if they love me, they should just know what I want. No. You need to tell them. You just need to be point blank and say, you know what, can you not do that the next time because I don't like that, please. And by the way, when you start talking about what you want, it's going to come out. It's going to flow a lot easier. But if you don't, you might find that you're exploding over situations that seem like to everybody else, that seem like no big deal. But it's because you've bottled things in. You've chained yourself. And that's how you're going to move forward in your relationships, in your work life. Okay? All right, let's do one more. Okay. Shadow. Interesting. Let's look at that one a little bit. Okay. The Tower. Upside down. This is also upside down. 5 of Wands. The Star upside down. I did shuffle these really. Okay. The Star. I guess with this kind of reading, though, this makes sense. Okay. And then 9 of Swords. So let's look at this. And by the way, these are both major cards. So this is also a very important lesson that at least some of you have learned in this past life, that you've brought into this life. So, yeah. It feels like you've learned something from your shadow side, from like your dark side, and you're sort of liking the lesson because it's made you wealthy. I'm not getting a good feeling from these guys. This looks sinister to me. This is dealing with money, and it feels like when you were younger, you definitely had a tower moment. You had a tumultuous thing happen that you did not learn from. Something really intense that left your life a mess, your family's life a mess, absolutely. And these young men, by the way, are forming a star of men, a man, a star, but they're not. They can't do it. Oh, and look at that star. Wow, that's upside down. Yeah. I'm feeling greed. I'm feeling like you grew up poor, and the lesson you learned is that if you don't treat people like chattel, like things, you're never going to get ahead. Wow, it feels like your shadow side gave you that idea. It said to you, hey, if you want to, continue to be poor and eat garbage and take garbage from these rich people. You've gotta be greedy and just take everything for yourself. And it's causing a lot of sleepless nights. At this point, you got the wealth and all that, but you're not happy with yourself. This caused a lot of unhappiness, and you can't sleep, and you don't really even understand why you can't sleep. You're not putting two and two together. The more you accumulate, the more wealth, the more unhappy you seem to be getting, because you get that rush of getting that thing, but then you sort of look at it and you're like, okay, now what? That is not going to sustain happiness for you over the long term. It's not. I mean, I'm not saying don't try and get money. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if that's your sole purpose in life. Okay, and I'm getting too that you're taking over this tower and you're throwing people out. And actually, you know what this feel? Okay, now that I think about it, I feel like this is what happened in the past. Is you and your family were thrown out of your home. Yeah, that's what that is. But you didn't learn the lesson. Or I should say you learned a negative lesson from this. You've taken a situation that was already pretty awful, but the lesson you learned is not going to make you happy. And you're not making the star. You're not making the star of man, and you're not following your star either. The more gentle parts of your personality, it feels like you've totally ignored them. The more gentle side of you. And that's why you're not sleeping, because you've totally not given that any more fuel, that gentle, sweet kind of part of you. Gordon Gecko, greed is good. There's nothing wrong with being successful, but it feels like you've done this to the point where you don't want anybody else to be successful. You want it all for yourself. And when you take it all like that for yourself and don't give it to anybody else, you end up very empty. Very empty. Okay. Group 2. Those were some interesting cards. If you've got any comments, I'd love to hear them. I'd love to hear about maybe circumstances that coincide with these that you've had. I'd love to hear them. I'd love to hear if you like this or if you didn't like this. And please subscribe and hit the bell if you want to see when I'm doing more videos. And I hope you have a great day, Group 2. Bye. Hi, Gypsies. You are Group 3. You chose the green bead. And we are answering the question, what lessons have you learned in a past life that are coming forward now, and they're sort of impeding your progress in this lifetime? So what negative lessons have you learned in a past life? So let's go ahead and, oh, this is heart chakra again. Wow, we had this in a previous reading. I do shuffle these cards very well. Okay, this is another heart lesson learned. King of Cups. Okay. Page of Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles. Knight of Cups. Wow, this definitely feels like a story here. It feels like you in a past life had a father. He was a loving father, but he didn't understand you. He's somebody that was very happy in a small kind of village, and you're somebody that in that past life, at least some of you in group 3, you're more concerned about commerce and making money. So you didn't feel like he understood you or loved you. It didn't work out the way you thought it would. Either you got the money and were not happy, or you never got the money that you were looking for. Okay. Yeah. You got the money you were looking for, but you feel like you never got the love. Yeah, this is interesting because this reading is talking about love and money, material gain. So it feels like the lesson that you learned in this past life that you've brought forward into this life, and it's a negative lesson because it's not really, it's something that you learned that you're bringing forward now. Is you feel unlovable. You feel like you feel guilty. You feel guilty for your need to be competitive and to make money. Now, do you see this right here? Look at his arms. Look how strong they are holding up the money. And do you see the red hat that he's wearing? So he's very, very strong in his thinking, using his mind and making money. He's very, very strong that way. And his muscles in his arms are incredible when you compare him to the rest of his body. And this red indicates a lot of activity, frenetic activity up here. So in this lifetime, which you've brought forward, is you feel like you're unlovable, and your heart is closed. You feel unlovable. You feel like you can't love anyone. You feel like nobody will love you. And your father in this past life passed at a relatively young age, so you never really got to make up with him and to discuss this with him and to feel he wasn't a bad guy, but there was just a disconnect between both of you, and it feels like you didn't leave things on a good way when you left. So you feel your dad sort of felt like you turned your back on him and his values and went off to find your own way. And you weren't a bad guy either. Neither one of you were bad guys. You were just sort of past each other. You didn't go together at all. Yeah. So you came back looking for love from your father, and he was already passed. It feels like you didn't even know he had died. So you come back with your money and your success, but he was already gone. And you realized that money wasn't going to do anything. It wasn't going to bring back that relationship with your dad that never was there. And you feel a lot of guilt associated with money, but you can't help that. This is a part of you. Nothing wrong with wanting to compete and make money, but there's like a string attached to it that makes it feel yucky, that makes it feel bad. There's a lot you can do with money that will help people, and maybe what you want to do to take that taint off the money, to take the, I mean, you have such a drive to make this money, but then when you do, you feel bad. So you might use some of it to help people. Why not use some of it for charity? And get a good association with money then, because money can be a very wonderful thing in helping people. That might change your mind a little bit, and it might take the yucky feeling off of it, the dirtiness that you feel. The dirtiness is the guilt. It's not the money itself. It's the guilt you're feeling. Okay, so let's try another one. Oh, third eye chakra, of course, is upside down. All right, third eye, intuition, Knight of Swords, upside down. Ten of Swords. Okay. Ten of Wands. And Nine of Pentacles. Well, you've got almost everything but cups in this little vignette here. All right, so, you know, what I'm getting at is, at least for some of you in a past life, what happened is you're a very intuitive person, but it feels like that was not accepted in your family at all. I feel a lot of anger and a lot of fear from a father or a mother, probably a father. So when you're younger, this is indicating here, you felt like, because of these intuitive feelings that you had, and you didn't even really know how to control them, but all you knew was that your dad considered you evil because you seemed to know these things, and you just seemed to come at things from a different way because of your thinking, and because of what you just know, because you're intuitive, and because you are intuitive, you are empathic. Well, you are empathic. So what's happened is you can feel other people's anger. You can feel everything, but you can really feel these strong emotions of anger, hostility, greed, all these negative emotions, and they feel terrible. They feel terrible. And you buried yourself in work to sort of shield your mind from this. This feels like a mother, or this feels like a safe harbor kind of thing. This is what you want. This is what you wanted. You wanted to be able to live a sort of a serene, kind of idyllic life. This doesn't necessarily, in this case, it doesn't feel like it's money. It feels like abundance of happiness and springtime and just being able to enjoy yourself. This here feels almost like a monk's kind of uniform outfit. You were doing this to sort of get these intuitive thoughts out of your mind because your father figure was angry with you because of that, and they didn't like that, so you buried yourself. This is what you really wanted. This is what you wanted. So I feel like you've got a negative, the negative lesson that you learned is you think this intuitive gift that you have is bad. You feel like it's bad. You associate it with bad things. You think it's evil, and you're trying to shield yourself from it, and you're not going to be able to. It's not evil. It's not evil. Sometimes it helps just to be with like-minded people. And to acknowledge this as a gift. You just know things. You don't know how or why. You might want to read books about this, and that might calm you a little bit. I've got a feeling that you're afraid of this, as your father was. This is frightening to you. And all I can tell you is, when you're first starting out, it is frightening. But once again, the more you delve into it, the less afraid you will be, because you'll understand it better and you'll understand yourself. You don't want to do this to yourself, block it, because number one, you're not going to be able to block it. It's a part of you. And you're not going to, you can use this for good too. You can use your intuitive abilities. But blocking it is not going to make it go away. And this is what you want. You want calm, serenity, peace, love. Yeah. All right. Let's go on to the next lesson for this group, for at least some of you. Spiritual union. That's probably Two of Cups in the tarot cards. Okay. Ooh. Three of Hearts. Or Three of Swords. Interesting. So you've got these people here in this spiritual union, and then you've got a heart that's been pierced. Let's pull a couple more heart cards. Two of Pentacles. The Moon. Let's pull one more. Five of Wands. Okay. Yeah. This feels like this feels like you found a soulmate. You found a soulmate in this past life. It feels like something's come between you, breaking your heart. You don't understand why. You don't understand what's going on. This makes no logical sense to you. You're trying to put your life back together. And you're doing a kind of balance. This is interesting that this is two and this is two. Do you see the humps for the heart around here? These cards have multiple meanings, but this definitely feels like a romance kind of love connection. And it is green. Heart chakra is green and pink. Yeah, it feels like after this horrible you feel like this person came between you two. It feels like you never discussed it, though, in a real... It feels like you just cut everything off. It was just too painful. You never even talked to the other person about it. It could be that maybe something could have been salvaged. You're trying to put your life back together again without even finding out what really happened. You're in the dark, and you're trying to move forward. And now you're just focused on this other part of your life, trying to, balance, your life without even really knowing what happened. This feels like the lesson that you learned. Yeah, wow. Okay, so it feels like the negative lesson that you learned in this past life is once something comes between you and another person, it can't be salvaged. It feels like what happened was you were so hurt, and this thing came between you, whether it was a person or a situation or something, and you just walked away. You didn't try to fix it. And boy, yeah, it feels like, yeah, that's the lesson, is if you feel like you've been made a if you feel like your partner makes you look bad because they're flirting with somebody else or whatever, you're not even going to confront them and just find out what's going on. It feels like a jealousy kind of thing. Jealousy. So you're trying to harm them by just totally dropping them. You're not listening to what they have to say. You're just going on with your life, even though you don't know really what happened. You're going to try and forget everything and just go on with your life, pretend like they didn't even exist. Wow. This is like a total closed door kind of thing. This feels like a lot of pride on your part, a lot of like as I say, jealousy. You don't get continual chances. If this was a real special relationship, this is a shame to let one thing come in between without even finding out. And even if it can't be saved, I'm hearing use your words. Use your words. Be accept your own responsibility for what's happened, because that's the only way that you're going to grow. And don't feel like you're the only, victim, or that you are a victim. If you just sit down and talk with the other person, at least you're going to know what happened, what they're thinking. You're just too easily giving up. So your lesson that you learned from this past life is, you feel like if somebody hurts you, you're just going to drop them like a hot potato. You're not going to try and rectify what went wrong, which is just a shame. Okay, so I would suggest you be a little humble and go to the person and just say, hey, what happened? I'm seeing this. Is this true? Is this true? Now, like I say, it may turn out that the other person is a real flake, but at least then. You can't level out your life without even knowing what happened. I feel like it's partly that you want to get back at them, that it's also humiliation. You feel like they've humiliated you. You know, they can't make you feel anything. That situation doesn't, even if they maybe like went out on you or were with another person, you don't have to feel humiliated. You can just go to them and just calmly say, is this true? Is this what you did? And just very calmly say that. You don't have to feel humiliated. Use your words. And I've mentioned this in another reading, nonviolent communication. It's a course that you can take. And if you have a hard time expressing yourself, that might be what you want to look at. Nonviolent communication. It's a wonderful, wonderful course. I think I did it in one evening. And it's really helpful for you and your partner to just go. You learn how to talk things out instead of yelling, instead of calling names. And you learn that what you're trying to do is come to an agreement rather than trying to hurt each other, which makes no sense. Okay, so that's group 3. Those are my messages. Thank you, group 3. And I hope you have a wonderful day, group 3. If you like this reading, if you want to leave me comments about whether you liked it or didn't like it, that'd be great. I'd love to hear that. And hit the subscribe and the bell, I guess. All right. Thank you, group 3. Bye.